It was a solid start from Manchester City early on in the game. They moved the ball around well. We talked about them stretching the pitch. Kevin De Bruyne's passes at times were sublime. But Sheffield United will be disappointed, obviously not creating enough. Yes, they got into some great areas. We see them advanced, getting many, many bodies into the box, but final ball and actually clear-cut chances that will probably Chris will be disappointed with.
Yeah, look, I know you share a management company with Chris Wilder, but you're professional enough to just deliver an honest assessment of a game of football. Are there big issues for Chris Wilder to solve, or is this something that's going to turn around on its own?
I think he'll turn it around. I think last season everyone was marvelling at the fact that he came in tactically and done things a bit differently and got great results with it, a big contrast to where he was at this stage last season compared to now. But I think he'll take some sort of comfort in that they're getting into good areas, and it's just about the quality. And he's got a new centre forward in, a young boy Brewster coming in, still bedding himself into the team. But they're getting in the positions. But like Michael said, the quality will show it later on the screen. The quality, and when they get there, hasn't been good enough. Yeah. So listen, they've lost 1-0 to a team that they were in the game the whole time. Yes, City were a better team, but it was still only 1-0. So you always got a chance to get back in, and it will take some comfort from that. But there's a lot to do still. OK, well, let's hear from the man who got the goal that gave the win for Manchester City today. He was born in Sheffield. He was a ball boy there when he was a lad. He's a supporter of the club. There wasn't much of a celebration, but he will know how important this goal was for his side and for his manager. Kyle Walker impressed the two of you an awful lot today. Yeah, listen, I think he's been the standout defender in the league so far. I think the way in which he attacks the games, he's got determination, he drives at the games, he's never playing in first gear, just chilling. Everything's done at high tempo. It must be a nightmare to play against, but also defensively, he's been very, very sound this year. Pep Guardiola speaking really, really highly about him during the week as well. So doing all the right things on the pitch. I know you had your Sheffield United hat on really well watching this one, but you can't say that Manchester City were anything other than utterly dominant today. They were utterly dominant, and it was a great performance for them. And like I say, it was a great goal. Kyle Walker, as Rio said, he's playing really, really well. He's slotted in at centre-back as well when needed. And what Pep actually said about it was he was really impressive in actually the dressing room. He's good to have around. He's good to have around the place. And he's showing you the goal. It was all about Raheem Sterling in the build-up. It's a special run, some great agility. Then to have that awareness to keep the ball. And this is the pass now from Kevin De Bruyne, a real difficult skill. Punches it in, doesn't he? And that's a collector's item for Kyle Walker. I'm not sure he's meant it. We'll have to give him a bit of stick over it because we won't hear the end of him scoring it. I think since he's had his hair done, he seems to be moving quicker. He's looking a bit slicker, isn't he? Yeah. Of course he meant it. That's a shot, isn't it? No, it's a great strike. I think he'd be delighted. He doesn't get many, to be honest. Why has he been so good, Rio? I just think the way he's played, his consistency. I think a lot of defenders, what you look for in your game is consistency, and what he does is he patrols the whole right-hand side on his own almost when he's in full flow. Earlier in this first half, he lost the ball and all of a sudden he ran back. He's like a man amongst boys sometimes physically. His physicality is something to marvel at. It's phenomenal, really. But then obviously he's got quality on the ball. He can switch the ball from right to left, and he's got all parts of his game are really working fine. He's enjoying his football. I think that's what you got to understand. He's got back in the England squad. He's really enjoying the role. He possibly hasn't got as far forward as we've known from Kyle Walker with the setup defensively, what Manchester City have been about. But he's been a one where there's been an uncertainty at the back that Pep Guardiola has certainly been able to rely upon. I think his maturity as well. I think you get older in the game, you know what it's like, Michael, don't you? You get to that point where you know the game inside out and you know other people's positions and you can see that confidence. And big leaders have left that changing room. Company, etc., have gone. David Silva, now he seems like one of the leaders. That's the work rate of a leader, isn't it? Most touches of the game, today from any player. Phenomenal. It's a great amount of touches. I don't know what you think. When you get to 30, people say, are you on your way down? I felt stronger at 30 for a couple of years, and I think he'll be one of those people that will really push through for the next couple of years. Same. I was on my last legs from 30. the back was finally giving up at that point, wasn't it? When I got to 30, I felt my powers were on the way down. It's the first injuries I ever had, really, and it wasn't good times. But that's how it happens, isn't it? It's the way life goes. That's the way it happens. We'll hear from Pep in just a second, but it was interesting, wasn't it? Totally unprompted in his interview with Des that Carr goes, who knows what happens in the future? Basically saying one day I'll have the red and white back on. Well, he travels to Sheffield a lot. His family are there, and he really likes Sheffield United. He has a good relationship with everybody still at the football club, and you always dream of going back to somewhere that you love and the club he supports. He'd be itching to go back at some point, but
let's be honest, he's doing really well for Manchester City. It's a nice thing for him to say, but he's very much a Manchester City player.
He'd have to take a huge wage cut to go back there. We're talking about wages before with Lundstrom and stuff,
I think he'll be all right then. I think he'll be okay. You want to hear, but don't talk about him taking the Barca job if you're the next president of Barcelona, because he doesn't want it.
He doesn't want it. That's a big statement. And as we discussed earlier, what type of sort of reaction would Pep have for him to come out and say he doesn't want it? It's a really, real positive for the football club. And he says how he wants to do well for the football club. But still, why can't we see this contract get over the line? And hopefully now, I'm sure they'll be calling him and saying, let's get it done.
You know enough about the game to know whether you think the ball's in his court or Manchester City's court. Where do you think it is? What's the situation there?
I think he's done enough and he's that good a manager that he would probably call the shots at this moment in time. I don't see who else comes in. Who else comes in and takes over the reins and takes it on from where he's at the moment? I don't see many candidates doing that, and who the owners will be confident in saying, OK, thank you very much, Pep. Let's bring someone else in to go to that next level. Where's that guy?
Well, he's spoken about the fact that he has to do well to stay at Manchester City. I'm not sure whether that really is the reality. I think if he wants a contract, he's going to get one. But talking of doing well, the defence is starting to look sharp now, isn't it?
There's a consistency.
Yeah.
And he said it there, and it's the first time I've heard him say that I've been searching for consistency through the last couple of seasons to play the same partnership. He seems to, he's identified that they're the two. Nathan Ake's coming for 40+ million this summer. He's obviously going to be someone who might be rotated in, but the two mainstays are the ones that are there.
Would you be disappointed if you were Nathan Ake, if you were hearing that, Rio, if you were sat there and you've come to a football club and he's sat on the bench, would you be thinking, where does that fit me in? Am I going to be part of that?
It all depends on the conversation that you had when he was being recruited. If Pep Guardiola and the recruitment team said you're going to come in and be third choice and you can work your way in if you can, if that's the case and he understands where he's at, but if he's coming thinking I'm going to play, that's almost one nail in the coffin there. But I think Man City have been searching for this. They haven't had this for many a year now where they can count on two players to go to stadiums like this and look comfortable. Yes, they've won at stadiums like this where it's up and at you football, but they've maybe got through these games and at times you think we could still get a chance against them, whereas today, these guys were very, very solid, and that's pleasing for a Man City fan. And Rodrigo has to take huge credit, who got given the Man of the Match award, and rightly so.
It's a question of quality, not just today, but all season.
But he always speaks his mind, he's always very honest, he's great to be interviewed after games, and he just tells you as it is. And we were sat here saying it was about the quality, the top of the pitch. He's a little bit disappointed that he feels they've got a little bit more to give in those areas. But that's just about Manchester City, and we're sat here saying yes, the bottom of at the bottom of the league, they're struggling. It's about points. We get that, but I think if he's just keeping up that level of performance, hopefully against the lesser sides, then those opportunities will come.
Yeah, completely. I think that you start the season and you look at Liverpool and Manchester City. They're probably two of the teams that he would sit there with his management team saying, we don't really expect anything out of these games. If we get something, then great. But we're looking more in other areas to get points on the board. And so he would have liked to have got a better performance in the final third. But I think, listen, they didn't get a hiding today, so the confidence wouldn't go down too much, you wouldn't think.
You both spoke in the build-up about backing the manager. He has had the opportunity to spend almost £60 million on strikers. Maybe it's more a case of he should be expecting more from them.
Well, you would expect more from them, but we've got to understand that on some of the strikers he's had to buy, maybe a little bit overpriced, but he has to really get those strikers in and try and create goals.